Hey guys, in this episode of Behind the Code, we talk with our CEO of LBRY, who we interview about what he kind of looks for in candidates, how he's had to let some people go, what are good people he's worked with, and traits of bad people he's worked with. We also talk about their project, LBRY, which is kind of a open source slash selling your videos, non-server based, using blockchains, very technical. And we showcase some of that and how that works, how easy it is. And I don't fully even understand what blockchains is, but it's very interesting. And he's a serial entrepreneur, has about 10 developers with him. Lots of great stuff. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Would you mind introducing yourself for everybody?
Jeremy Kaufman, the CEO of LBRY. And what LBRY is, completely decentralized and sort of community-controlled way for people to share, discover, and potentially purchase digital content.
Yeah. So you guys emailed me originally to kind of check out your site and see if I wanted to upload my content. Have you had many YouTubers that kind of have gone about this quite yet?
So right now, we've been doing. We're not. If you're a technically minded YouTuber and you're interested in diving in, we wholeheartedly support that. For most YouTubers, we're happy to kind of do the heavy lifting, so you can just kind of one click and we'll do all that work for you. We have had several YouTubers. Well, we've had more than several. We've had several thousand YouTubers commit to joining. We've had a good number of YouTubers who are fairly prominent and popular. One of the ones I'm most excited about is Grade A Under A because he's literally made the video everything that's wrong with YouTube. And I think there's a lot wrong with YouTube, or a lot wrong with how we distribute content in general. And that's what we're working on fixing. So to get someone who gets it is always exciting.
Yeah, so Grade A Under A is a massive YouTuber. For those of people who maybe not know who he is, I actually follow him as well, or subscribe to him. What sort of benefits would he get by posting his content on your platform?
There's several, but I'd say that there are two ones that are really big. One big one is the amount of money you make. YouTube takes 45% of every dollar that you're making off your content. YouTube's taking 45% for that, which I think is too large. I'm not going to say that moving bits around is easy, but at the end of the day, that is all you're doing is moving bits around, and 45% is a lot for that. The other thing, though, and this one is potentially even bigger than the percentage, is the trust element. You see that these creators who do really great stuff, who build basically their entire business, their entire livelihoods on top of a company that can change the rules on them at any time, and has shown a willingness to change the rules on people at any time. And so the benefit of having an open source shared system that can be used by anybody to publish and exchange content, to me, that level of trustworthiness is difficult to put a price on.
Yeah. And so you had mentioned monetization and YouTube. And so for the people who don't know, YouTube does take 45 cents of every ad that gets played, and I keep 55%. And then all you bastards who use ad block, I don't get any of your money. But so what would there be a rev split on your platform, or how is the game plan for that?
So when you make a piece of content available on LBRY, we take nothing on any transaction. So you publish your content to LBRY. It's published onto the. We use a blockchain as sort of the equivalent of our database of the content that's available, and that's actually all that a blockchain is for anyone who isn't that aware of blockchain technology. There's a lot of hype around it. All it really is a database. It's a database with some somewhat unique properties, but functionally what it is a database. So we use a blockchain to serve as that listing of all of the content that's available. And the benefits of doing that is that it's a shared system that anyone can participate in, even without our permission. You don't need to get permission from us to make your content available. And similarly, because it's a blockchain, we don't have the ability to control it. So we can't remove your content, even if we wanted to. And so that kind of system where it's shared by everyone, no person fully owns it, I think is definitely superior to the status quo.
Now, is this kind of someone who's not educated in this? to the degree obviously you are. Is this similar to like how torrents work?
The part of it is similar to how torrents work. One way, if you're familiar with BitTorrent, here's another way to get your head around what we're doing with LBRY. Torrents have three problems. One, what I would call the catalog problem. So while distribution is decentralized, there's no catalog, there's no shared catalog of what's available on the BitTorrent network. A blockchain provides a decentralized way of having a shared catalog. The second big problem with BitTorrent is the incentives. BitTorrent basically works because people are nice or don't understand how it works. Now, it's great that people are nice and make their disk space and bandwidth available, but because it only works if people are nice, old content disappears, rare content disappears. BitTorrent works great for popular content, for rare, more obscure stuff, not so much. BitTorrent is, this is partially the design, partially a marketing and a branding issue. It's basically nothing but infringing content. Over 99% of BitTorrent usage is for infringing content. And that is not what we want to happen with LBRY. We've designed LBRY in a way that we think the legitimate creators of content can monetize it and can hopefully make more money off of it than they were making previously. And so we want to fix that problem with BitTorrent as well. We don't want LBRY to be 99% infringing.
Nice. So we've talked about rev split and making money. How does one make money on your guys' platform? Is it ad based, or what's kind of the idea?
So the idea with LBRY is to make prices explicit. A lot of people say that YouTube is free. I would disagree. YouTube is free maybe if you live forever and your time is absolutely worthless to you. Otherwise, YouTube does cost you money. And similarly, someone must be paying because people get paid for making their videos available. So the way that YouTube works is effectively watching a, quote, free video on YouTube has a price. That price is anywhere from a tenth of a cent to a cent. And that is what a publisher earns, or what YouTube earns, for that video being viewed. Now that cost is frequently paid for by an advertiser, right? So effectively what's happening in the YouTube publishing model is you're saying, I want to make half a penny every time this video is watched. An advertiser says, well, I'm happy to cover the cost of a half a penny if someone is willing to watch my advertisement to watch the video. Just because a lot of times people don't think about it that way, but that is, I think, the right way to think about it. So what LBRY does is it makes costs explicit. So you can price a video at free. You can price a video at half a penny. You can price a video at $100. For videos below a certain price, this is actually not part of the system currently, but it's expected that an advertiser can cover that cost similar to YouTube. So for videos below a certain price, a user will essentially have the choice of, do I want to watch an ad or do I want to pay the penny, right? And for videos above a certain price, it's basically a more like a la carte pricing model where you pay the $2 or the $3 or the whatever to access the content.
Cool. So I happen to have 400 videos, and if I said something like, okay, let me upload my entire library, I could say $1 video. Let's see something like that.
You could absolutely say that. I would guess, however, if you priced your videos at $1, more people would choose to consume them from YouTube because they're cheaper than $1 on YouTube.
Okay. So I don't know if has Grade A under a priced his videos out of curiosity?
We've just got we're just pricing it at free.
Okay.
Right now it's just priced at free. Right now this is still this is a product that's still in a beta. Actually, right now it's in a closed beta. We're going to go to an open beta very soon. But this is definitely the early stages of what we're building with LBRY.
Cool. So how does, when you have the option of selling, I'm guessing you're going to take a certain percentage of the sales to sustain the business model, or how is the company going to sustain itself, I suppose?
So that's a good question. We do not take any money. We do not take any percentage of the videos that are shown. And amazing things about LBRY is we never can take a percentage of the videos that are shown. Now, never is a strong word. If if we decided that we wanted to do that, and over 50% of the community thought that we deserved the money, that's the only way that we're ever getting any. We have no intentions to do that, just to be clear. But the beauty of this kind of system is we are handcuffing ourselves. We do not have the ability to change the rules unilaterally. We only have the ability to change the rules if the users of the system want the rules to be changed that way. Now, I haven't gotten to actually answering your question, which is how do we make money? And we do want to make money. We are a business. The way that we make money is twofold. One, we have retained a small portion of the credits that are used to maintain the sort of blockchain database. So as LBRY gets more popular, we have an asset that increases in value. And the other way is similar to other kinds of open source software. So by being the experts at this software, by knowing it better than everyone else, we are in a position to provide all of the tools and all of the things that need to be built on top of it. And those may cost money. We may charge money for those, or we may charge usage fees for those and things like that.
Cool. Let's talk about being a CEO, because I'm looking at your LinkedIn, and it seems like you spent 5 years, 7 months as a CEO. You're currently the CEO.
Correct.
And you spent almost 6 years at a company called TopScore. I'm not familiar with TopScore. What did TopScore do?
So I was also the founder and CEO of TopScore. TopScore was and is a company that provides a software service for sport and activity organizations. So basically, on the larger side, those would be places like USA Water Polo, USA Rugby, large kind of national or international sport and activity organizations. On the smaller side, it would be your kind of local soccer club or your local baseball league, or that kind of thing. And what our software did was it would power your homepage. It would sing the registration tools, all of the legal stuff surrounding waiver signings and collecting information potentially from children who are young and all that stuff. But basically, it was a software tool for people who ran sport and activity events.
Nice. How did I see? So you see, you have kind of a startup / I'm going to work for myself mentality. How did TopScore? What made you move on from TopScore, I should say?
What made me move on from TopScore was exactly that mentality. I mean, TopScore was and is doing very well as a company. I just got bit by this bug for something new that I couldn't stop thinking about. And to be honest, I love the early stages of a company, the first 2, 3, 4 years when you're trying to figure something out. You're trying to figure out how to do it when I like being in that area where the answers are very unclear. I'm not the kind of person who I have some friends who are into video games, and I like video games, but some of them, they like playing video games, and they really like winning. And if they could go in and they could play the video game and they could crush everybody, that's really fun for them. For me, I love the challenge. I love being in that area of going into that unknown, of being in that place where I don't know how to figure this out, and maybe I'm even a little nervous and scared about whether I can in the first place. And I love being in that early, lot of energy.
Nice. And before that, you had a company, Flick Switcher.
Oh yeah, that's not real. Yeah, that's just a name I made up for my consulting business.
Okay.
TopScore actually started as a consulting project, so it started as a for-hire, kind of single web development project for one organization, and my friend and I were like, hey, we can make a company out of this, and that's what we did.
Cool. Now, how does in terms of being a CEO, what sort of, it's going to vary depending on the size of the company and the individual, but in general, what kind of entails being a CEO of a company?
And so just to be clear, that's going to vary a lot depending on the size of your company. TopScore was 10 people when I left. LBRY is 8. So I have not been the CEO of. It's not the same thing as being the CEO of a giant company. Being a CEO of a company this size. Well, so the number one thing that your job as a CEO, regardless of the size of your company, is you are the buck stops with you for everything. So you are the person who is making the decisions about where the company needs to go, who are the best people, to be running that company, high level strategy and stuff like that. Now, when you're a company that's this size, with either of those sizes, that's not all that you're doing. And when you're at a company that are those sizes, it's useful if you can step in and do a lot of the roles. You're not going to be able to when you're running a company that's 8 people, you're not just a manager. You need to be able to actually do the work. And how, as a CEO of the company of those sizes, where you'll step in and do the work is probably going to depend more on what your skills actually are. But I would say the broader your skills, the better. And in my case, I know about programming, I know about product design, I know about sales and marketing and these kinds of things, and I'm able to step in and help out in those areas sort of as necessary.
Nice. Now, with 10 people or less, it's a small, compact team. When you're looking to kind of bring somebody on, what are at the end of the day, it's probably your decision along with some input. But how do you kind of decide who's the right fit when bringing somebody on who's going to be when you only have 10 employees, going to be such a huge, crucial impact?
You're absolutely correct. And the hardest decisions, at least for me, and I think it'd be true for any CEO, is who do I work with? How do I find good people? How do I identify that someone is a good person? It's really hard, because you're meeting someone, you're talking to someone who you've never met before, and they're essentially now. There's a lot of people out there who are good, honest people, but there's a lot of people out there who aren't, and how do I tell if this person is actually going to actually knows the things they claim to know? How do I tell if this person is going to be reliable, is going to show up on time, is going to get their work done, or they're not? And sometimes you're not going to find that out for like months after you hired them. I've certainly hired people before who I thought they were going to work out, and then you spend tens of thousands of dollars on that person, and they end up being not very good. The pattern that I've ended up coming into for hiring people has been, one, I'll usually do like an initial, just a quick get to know someone. This can be real short, 10, 15 minutes, just like very initial screening. If they seem, if they seem decently competent, my preference is, rather than to do these kinds of abstract tests and stuff like that, is to come up with the most realistic simulation of what the work would actually entail and have them do it and pay them even. So hire them for a day, 2 days, 3 days to do somewhat related work, and to get them to see what it's like to work with you as well. Like when you're a company that's 10 people, you're almost certainly, working for a company that's 10 people is a lot different than working for a company that's 100 people or 200 people or 1,000 people. And so I also like for that person to get the chance to see what would it be like to work for this company. And so that's what I've ultimately come down to as being the best, is to do the most realistic simulations of the work possible, and to do that over anywhere from like a day to a couple of days, and assuming it's longer than a day, then I do it as a paid job.
Nice. Now, what do you had mentioned that you had hired a couple of people who just, it sucks. There's some people out there that on paper they look like great developers, but in reality they're either a pain in the ass or not skilled or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
How do you handle like a negative situation like that?
You fire them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely one lesson I learned with my first company. I was slow to do that at times, and I think anyone who has ended up running a company for longer than a couple of years will tell you one of the things they learned is you can't keep people around who aren't performing. And I think that is something that when people are new to starting a company, maybe they go and they hire their friend, or someone says, oh well, this guy's good, and they just kind of hire them, and then you'll learn pretty quickly of running a company that like you can't keep people around who aren't performing.
Nice. Now, it's more of a performance thing? Is it, at least in your experience, than the kind of a
personality
slash,
culture.
we work well together?
Yeah. Is there a time? I mean, so there are times. So yes, I can't say that there are times where I've sort of lost an employee and didn't want to, and that was because they maybe they didn't fit in, or maybe the job wasn't what they wanted to be doing, or so on. So it's not like every time I've stopped working with someone, it was because they were bad at what they did. Have I ever? I don't think that I've ever let someone go for those reasons. I actually find that to be an easier thing to kind of suss out more quickly. Is this person, a culture fit? Here to figure out than is this person, as competent and reliable as they might, project themselves to be?
Yeah. I asked that question because in my experience, especially for the like junior level roles, you
Yeah.
have to have a basic skill set. But a lot of times what's happens, at least for what I've taken away, is that sometimes they're more looking for the good fit that they can mold into the developer that they want, that will, stay longer, or just someone they can work with a lot of times, rather than the great guy who doesn't really work well except by himself.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I like to try to do is I try to not, in terms of how I work with people, I try to figure out a way that works for their style of working. So like if you're the developer type who wants to put your head down, who doesn't like to talk to people, I like, you're productive, and I'll try to give you a good environment and a good workflow that works for that kind of person. If you're the kind of developer who is very engaged and likes to talk problems through with people all the other time, I try to accommodate that too. I'm a big fan of you've ever heard of Moneyball?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's, especially if you're a smaller company, that's the right way to hire people, right? It's obviously the person. No, it's not 100% true, but odds are, if you got the computer science degree from MIT, you're a competent programmer, right? Like odds are, almost all of those people are going to be competent programmers. But everyone knows that, and those people are going to have, high salaries, and they're going to be in demand everywhere. They're the money in baseball. They're the guy who hits 50 home runs and who has a batting, and everyone knows they're good. If you're a small company, I think what you want to try to do is try to find the sort of rough diamonds, the people who maybe they do have a personality quirk, and if you can work around that a little bit, they're really good employees. Or maybe they they're undervalued for some other reason. Or whatever. So I actually kind of like working with people who are maybe a little bit quirky or a little bit different or whatever, because I don't, you're not going to put me off. And sometimes you can kind of get a good team of people who are a little bit different. So.
Nice. So let's jump back into the library real quick. So you just announced that it's going to be going to open beta pretty soon. Now we'll but between beta and then, the full release, what sort of changes are you expecting, or, potential updates in a perfect world would you like for your platform?
We've been in closed beta because basically it's been very unreliable. As we're seeing good reliability, we're going to move to open beta. The open beta will still be missing. It's missing features that like clearly people are going to want. Like a lot of the stuff that I would actually like to be able to deliver to creators like yourselves in terms of analytics tools and insights and stuff like that. It's not there. There's more work that we need to do in sort of the UI and the recommendation side of things. There's definitely a lot of work to be done there. However, what the open beta will showcase is that it's possible to build this kind of system. It's possible to, in a completely decentralized way, provide not just the ability to access content, which we've known has been possible for a while via BitTorrent, but also to discover it and to purchase it as well. And that's the new part. And so the open beta will showcase that these things are possible, that they can be done in relatively performant ways, and they can be done in ways that create a good, user experience.
Nice. And so is it, like, because I've watched, there's a 100-second introduction video,
Yeah.
that's for me like very hippy dippity.
It is. Can I do it? Is it okay to do a screen share? Because I don't mind just popping it up for a second and showing you. What it looks
yeah.
like.
Let's. There should be a screen share button on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's dive into it.
Yeah. I'll just share that out. And actually, let's see. Do I already have it running? Version is this. Okay, so this is we're switching to a version that is going to be based in Electron rather than the browser. But this is it. We're viewing, this is the homepage for LBRY. Sometimes I call it, when I'm doing a demo of it, I will actually sometimes call it the world's most boring demo. Because we're not trying to be too innovative in terms of the UI, or in terms of, like, this is all stuff that we've done before. We know how to access, to click watch and have a video come up, and I will go ahead and do this. So this is a great movie, actually. This is called Coherence. This is put out by Oscilloscope Laboratories, which is a great kind of like a they're in Hollywood. They do more indie stuff, but right, it's I click play. I'm watching a movie. You know, I can search for stuff if I want to publish stuff. Right, it's going to be fairly straightforward. But what's really cool is that all of this is happening, and you'll see actually here in my URL bar, I'm not accessing a website. I'm actually accessing a little thing that's running locally. And what that's able to do is search the network, access something, and pay for something, all without any kind of centralization, all without any authority that's in charge of the whole network.
Now, is this going to be streaming it, or are you going to need to download these files?
So you can stream. It's been designed with streaming in mind, which BitTorrent was not designed with streaming in mind. This is the hippie video, I believe, that you watched. Yeah, so BitTorrent was not designed with streaming in mind. This has been designed with streaming in mind.
All right, now, are you able to turn off the like say I upload a video, but I don't want people to have the ability to download it. I want them to they pay me $5 or whatever it is, and then they can watch it on LBRY.
So right now, we do not make a distinction between streaming and downloading. If you stream it, it will also download it. Now we may I'll stop the screen share temporarily. We may add support for a feature like that if we see strong demand for it. Personally, I think it's a little bit silly, right? Like we're kind of just pretending that when you're streaming something, you're not actually downloading it. And part of what LBRY is trying to do is acknowledge certain realities about how moving bits around work that I think content companies do sometimes want to like put their fingers in their ears and not believe are the case. But they're coming more and more around. And actually, I've been surprised when, you know, I've obviously explained, I'm very upfront with how the system works and its properties. And as I've explained it to a lot of the publishers, they're actually more keyed in, and they get that, like, you know, the way that stuff works, that there's no actual way to stop someone from being able to download a video, right? Like if you're letting someone stream it to their computer, you can't stop that person from saving it if they want to.
Was there anything else that you'd like to cover about LBRY?
Well, so I mean, I know a lot of the people that, you know, watch your show, right? They're into programming. Something that's really cool about LBRY is it actually provides an entire API. Actually, I mean, I'll do another quick screen share here. So when this is running, and it is running still, right? Yeah. It's actually providing it's packaged separately. You can install it, and it's providing a set of APIs that you can call from anywhere. And in fact, I can even just call them via curl. Let me grab so right, any programming language is going to have, whether you use curl or something else, is going to have an ability to interact, to, you know, make simple calls and interact with a web server. So I'm just going to make a call here. This one is going to give me the status. That's probably not very exciting. Let's do a more exciting one. Maybe I'll just, let's do that.
Now, I don't know if you're comfortable saying this, but how, if you don't want to, by all means say, you know, don't want to say, but how many users does LBRY currently have?
So we have 175,000 people on our list for the beta. We've actually only let in less than 10,000 of those because we were having a lot of trouble getting the system to work. I hate typing in curl parameters from the command line. Maybe I'll just do we have a CLI version. So that's an example of I'm making an API call to just resolve what's the equivalent of a URL lookup, and I can get the metadata back about, you know, what is it, who published it for that URL. And this is what's really, really cool about this is all the other ways of doing this, they involve a centralized authority that provides this. We do it, and it's only powered by the people who are running the software itself. And similarly, if I wanted to download it, I would just make the call. It's just called get. And that's gonna start downloading it for me and downloading it to my local machine. And so there's just a at, it's actually only provides, I think it's about 50 things, and it's real easy to install. And anyone with even moderate programming ability can use this as a database and as a back end to build all kinds of services. It doesn't have to be a video service. You could do, distributing CAD files. You could do all kinds of different stuff. We have a guide for programmers. It's at LBRY.io/quickstart. There's actually a new version of it coming out just this coming week. So hopefully by the time this show is out, it will already be up. There's a version up now. It's slightly older, but it's basically designed for programmers, even more novice programmers. You can be up and running and talking to this API and be building things against it or doing really cool stuff with it.
Nice. So I noticed that you guys are using a credit system, which sounds like you're probably exchanging cash for some sort of credits. Is that how you're buying like videos?
That's right. So in terms of the way that the protocol is specified, the protocol actually says that whatever two parties are willing to kind of handshake and agree on, that's totally cool. We have a credit system for our blockchain. So, and again, blockchain, whenever you hear the word blockchain, just think database. So for our database of content, that does involve having its own credit system, because all blockchains require some kind of token to power them. So we use our own credit system to maintain that catalog. That's the only time that our credit system is actually like a hard requirement. It's also optional to use our credit system for other kinds of payments, and that's the default behavior. But that's not like a rule. And so if people want to pay dollars or people want to pay Bitcoin or want to pay whatever, that's all supported.
So how many, let's say 100 credits, what is that, in USD, for instance?
Right now, so about $2. That's what people would buy and sell 100 credits for. It's about $2.
Cool.
However, that's a market price. And I do, as always, have to say that these, sometimes people like to buy and sell these and speculate in these. We discourage that. We would like people only to buy those credits for usage on the network.
Yeah, let's try to, the new Bitcoin, try and do something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much hype there, and I don't want to see people put their money into something that's like, I want people to put their money in it to use it. I don't want to see people, risking their money on something that is like, look, this is the early days of something. We think we're trying to do something really, really absolutely, amazing. And we think the potential here is really large, but I'm personally uncomfortable with the idea of, people putting large chunks of money into something at this stage. And, they can't, it's risky. This is a risky endeavor.
Yeah. I personally love the idea. I'm very excited to hear once you guys are. I feel like nowadays companies they're like, look, we're staying in a beta for a while until we go official, and like everything's worked out. And when you're there, I'm pretty excited to see and hear updates about what changes have taken place. And I've been thinking about originally, I believe I was talking to Riley, if I remember correctly, and so it sounded like I wasn't going to be able to sell my videos. But if that's an option, I love the idea of your sort of marketplace, if you will, where I can take my videos, throw it on another platform, be like, hey, if you want to buy it and you want to have it, accessible, you can, $5, here's this video. And so it's something that I'm probably going to spend some time this weekend transferring over my videos and setting up a market price for them.
Oh, that would be wonderful. So we absolutely, totally support that. As a programmer yourself, I would actually, if you've got a large database of videos, I would recommend, try scripting it rather than, you can go through the UI and click publish 100 times, but we've got a nice little API. You can do that in a programmatic fashion. Now, it needs a little bit of cleanup, but it is, it's in a pretty tolerable and usable state. And yeah, that is absolutely one of the use cases that we want to support, so that you can sell your videos, you can pick whatever price you want, and people can come on and download them, and you get 100% of that money. And we think that is an idea that will be appealing to a lot of people.
Yep. Well, thank you for taking the time. I hope to do a follow-up interview when you guys, I know you're just going to open beta, but maybe towards the end of it and you're ready to release it. Whoever knows how long that's going to be, right? But I would love to follow up to see all the progress that's going on.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you very much, Dylan.
I think have a good one.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in coding bootcamp, check out devmountain.com, where housing is included in your price of tuition. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.